Jillian Mahen here for BTN.com, joined by Jon Crispin and a newcomer, Max Bielfeldt. He played at Michigan as well as Indiana. So let's start with your latest stint at Indiana and talk a little bit about the Hoosiers, because I don't think
You're making a face.
They're
Stop
not
it.
quite where we thought they would be at this point in the season. So I guess my question to you guys would then be, and especially you, Max, having played there, what is the issue here, or what's going on, and where were your expectations for them versus where they are now?
So the Hoosiers had really, really high expectations to start the season. And, you know, with OG Anunoby and Thomas Bryant getting all these preseason accolades, you're ready for them to have a huge season. And they had the Kansas game and the North Carolina game, which really set them off on the right track. But I think, you know, what you're seeing now is the youth. You're seeing, you know, the IPFW game where they drop one, and next thing you know, they lose a couple in a row. It's the fact that, you know, there's no Yogi Ferrell this year. There's no Colin Hartman after getting hurt. You know, there's not one senior on the court this year. So, you know, they're really missing someone that is there and can take control of this team. Now they're getting better. You know, they've improved. You saw the game against Michigan State, great game. And I think, you know, from here on, I think Tom Crean has them turning around.
Hardest thing with youth is always figuring out consistency. I know John and I have talked about that several times. It's just finding that level ground when you have so many young players. But now you have OG out with an injury. Yeah. So what does this do for this team and the makeup of this team that really relied on him so much on the court?
Well, first and foremost, I think it forces other guys to step up. And I hate that cliche term. It's such a sports cliche term, step up. But it's exactly what you need to see. And these are guys that are going to now play with a little less fear, too. Why? Because there's less players behind you. There's more room for error at this point. A coach can live with error so long as it's aggressive error. If you foul a little bit defensively, well, just make sure you foul because you're being aggressive. If you turn the ball over in transition, make sure you turn it over trying to make a play happen. So you can live with more error, and I think it allows young guys to play with less fear. And less fear usually means maximizing potential on the floor. So not saying it's a positive, and I know Max would agree with this. It's not a positive that OG Anunoby's hurt, not in any way, shape, or form. But it will be kind of a glass half full situation with young guys now having an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're going to miss most of all his big play ability. You know, the thunder dunks he puts down in transition. He gets hands on balls. He has a 7'2" wingspan. He gets that hand out there, and he deflects it. And you have offenses that struggle. When you put OG on their best player, he's such a different sort of player. You know, I had to play him firsthand, one-on-one, and you think you have something, and next thing you know, there's this big paw right there to block your shot, and you're just like, man, you can't get anything off on him. And he's so athletic, and they're going to miss that ability for him to steal the ball.
Yeah, and those big plays can really be momentum changers. They always say the cliche. I know you love cliches, John. It's a game of runs, but really, a big play like that can really change the course of the game. All right, John, Max, thank you so much for joining us. For more Indiana news, highlights, and analysis, head to btn.com/Hoosiers.